I am your sergeant of arms. We have a very, very special meeting today. We have a chance to have our Toastmasters for today, and his name is Jesus Martinez, which happens to be our president for this club. So, Jesus, are you around?
We actually did a change in the updated agenda, Jonathan. So it is actually Joseph. Our
Oh,
president
Joseph.
had to go to the doctor, and we're going to kind of step it up a moment. But you
Okay.
should have that updated agenda, and I will try to get that loaded on the screen as well so everyone can see it since we have different teams going on.
Absolutely. So, without further ado, let's welcome up our former president, Mr. Joseph. So, pleasure. Let's do a virtual handshake.
Virtual handshake for you, good sir. And it's honestly an honor to be in front of all of you on this rather interesting meeting where we have lots of our friends from across the entire company viewing what a typical meeting is going to be looking like. Normally, we would be meeting on the fourth floor, which is affectionately called the Icebox, but to me, it is Xanadu. It is the place where we get to see everybody grow and develop into the future leaders and speakers that they want to be. And today, for those of you that this is their first meeting, we have a fantastic lineup of speakers, evaluators, and some people we're going to pick on for table topics for you to see. Without further ado, though, I don't want to hog too much of the spotlight. I would like to bring up our first speaker, Miss Dorothy Lynn, to come and start her speech today. She's on speech 2.2.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much, Joseph, for that great introduction. We always love hearing you speak as well. My name is Dorothy Lynn, and I'm super excited to be here. I hope all of our Toastmasters are excited to be in this meeting. Welcome to the new people that are visiting. This is going to be very exciting. To move forward with my speech, I will be speaking about communication styles, and the name of my speech is Fish Dog. Sounds a little strange, right? So we're going to cut right through it. I'm going to take you on a little journey, but I want you to understand that we're going to evaluate my speaking communication skills, or speech communication skills, I should say. What kinds of skills do I have? I might question, what am I doing day to day? What is the perception of me amongst my peers, amongst my managers, my husband? What do people think when I talk? Or if I'm trying to teach them? So you think about types of skills one might have. Are you very communicative? Are you very firm? Are you fancy? Professional? Are you very empathetic and supportive? Are you just ball of energy? Like, what do you do? And I really feel like I'm a good mix of a lot of things. But I definitely want to hone in on an experience that I got to have this weekend. And I want to take it away, that little journey I was talking about a little bit, from that professional world and humans alike. I want to talk about the beach. I want to talk about my experience in this weekend at the beach with my dog. So I have a little friend here with me, right? So we're gonna let the hair down. Hopefully you guys can all see me there. So communication skills, we might think, and working from home, right? We're still learning. So communication skills, we might think, how do we communicate, right? Roxy, come here. Come on. Up. Sit. Shake. Oh, that's my baby. That's my girl. So you like the beach too, don't you? This is how I communicate with my Roxy. She's a good girl, but I've known her for a long time. So how do I talk to someone I don't know? Let's talk about a dog. This is not staying on. Let's talk about another dog. I went to the beach this weekend. He's a rescue. He used to live in a chicken coop. He's a border collie. Super, super hard to communicate with him because he has so much anxiety. How do I get on his level? She knows me. Roxy knows how I operate, but he has no idea. He's terrified. We thought we'd go and put him in the ocean, and he did not like the waves. So the communication style that I had to do, I had to be empathetic. I had to put myself in his shoes. Yes, a dog. I crawled down on my little hands and knees, and I crawled right into that ocean, straight from the beach into the water, and I turned around and I sat down, and I let him know, it's okay. You're safe. This is fun. It took about 30 minutes before he finally started creeping in. But after an hour before I did that of trying, he finally got in there and crawled up right next to me and just sat there. And he played in the beach the rest of the day. This is an example of how I overcame an obstacle of helping my little baby pup, my little pup, get to where he needed to be and overcome something. And I feel like I see a different dog. I really do. So, yes, it's a dog, but we communicate with kids, we communicate with ourselves. So, it's not just the perception of what others think. Are you self aware? So, if I think about all the skills that I've mentioned, I might go back and think about what is the key thing that I do? I feel like, yes, I'm precise. I can be direct and firm and accurate and analytical, but most off, I am empathetic and I am supportive. I am receptive to those that are working with me. I am hearing what they're saying and I am getting in there and I am helping them overcome obstacles. And that makes me a strong communicator. And that is what I enjoy doing. So to reel it back in here, I ask you to think about today, hearing all these beautiful speeches. How do I communicate? If I was the one speaking right now, what would people think? Am I clear? Am I concise? Am I fun? Thank you very much for allowing me to speak today. Toastmasters, everyone have a great day.
All right, and thank you, Dorothy, for being our first speaker today. I'm sure many of you are thinking, wow, she did really, really well, and I want to let her know she did really, really well. Luckily for you, that is what this file that I'm going to resend to the group, since y'all are just going crazy with that applause. Oop, it said the file upload failed. Let me try that again. Ooh, shoot. The file is not wanting to upload. That is not good. Give me 1 second to see if we can fix this. Oh, because it's already there technically. In the chat for Teams, those of you that are familiar, there is a Files button. In that Files section, you're going to see Notes for Speakers and Voting Sheet.docx. That's what you're going to want to download a copy of, not edit it in Teams, because then everyone will see what you're writing. But go ahead and download a copy of that document. And you're going to use this document throughout our session today to leave notes for the speakers about what you think they did really, really well. Maybe leave some friendly feedback about how you think they could do even better in the future. Toastmasters is ultimately an environment where we encourage everybody to give feedback, both positive and constructive, so that we can all grow as a collective and hopefully become the future leaders that this organization needs. Now, real quick, is anybody having difficulty actually finding that document? Y'all are gonna have to unmute too, because most of y'all get automatically muted when you join.
Yeah, where is it? Where am I supposed to find it? I'm sorry.
Okay, so in Teams, do you see the chat button? I'm assuming that should be on the left side of the screen.
Yep.
You want to go in there and you want to click on the most recent chat, which should be the General Toastmasters virtual meeting. And at the top of that chat log, you should see the Files button at the top. That will allow you to click on the file that I've attached in there called
Nice.
Notes for Speakers and Voting Sheet. And once you download a personal copy for yourself, you're going to keep all of your notes in there. And then I'm going to tell you guys how to use this at the end to email it to Jonathan so we can keep tally of all of those anonymously. So we definitely do not want you to put your names on these sheets, but you could put the names of the speakers as you go.
Awesome.
Are we having any other difficulties with people getting into the chat for this meeting?
I still can't find it.
Oh boy.
Mm.
All right, let me share
All
my
you have
screen
to
with y'all
do
really
is
quick.
I got it.
scroll up to the
What was the
very
name of the first speaker again?
Dorothy.
Dorothy. Okay.
And once you scroll up to the very top, it's at the beginning of the chat, right up under the agenda as well, everyone.
All right, I'm going to try to keep this quick in the interest of time, but can you see me presenting the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we
Right.
can.
So we're going to want to go to the chat button here because we can't access the files normally just in the actual meeting. We're going to have to go to the chat button. You're going to see that it should look like this with everybody posting and being supportive and at this point saying they can't access the link. I've attached the file here without the link and I cleaned out most of the verbiage we talked about earlier as well. So this should be mostly blank at this point. And you should be able to click this little hamburger menu right here to hit download. And that download is what you're going to want to do because you're going to email this to our Sergeant at Arms once the meeting has concluded.
Thank you. That was very helpful.
Excellent. I'm glad I could help.
Yep, think you got it.
Is anybody locked out of that file before we continue with the meeting? Because we definitely want y'all to be able to participate.
Yes, us in career services don't have access.
Not in the slightest. Oh boy. Everybody in career services. Okay. Hold on.
Yeah, we were never added to the actual Toastmasters team.
Oh, it's not a Teams file. It's in the chat room that we're all in right now.
So when we click on the file, it takes us to the Teams page. If it's the, oh, here, this notes for speaker. There it is.
Okay, good. So you do have access.
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right. In that case, with us all now equipped with our feedback, how you're going to use this as Toastmaster for the day, you can just put Joseph, but most importantly for speaker number 1, you're going to type Dorothy, and you can leave whatever comments you like. Of course, friendly and constructive at the end of the day, but they could be positive or room for improvement, whatever you want, because ultimately they're going to be sent to Jonathan at the end, and we'll make sure you feel comfortable with that once the meeting is getting ready to conclude, so you can submit your feedback anonymously. Without further ado, though, I would like to welcome up our second speaker, which is going to be Amber, who is on her icebreaker, which is a very special speech where you get to introduce yourself to the club.
Hey guys, how are you doing today?
Great.
Great. I apologize. This is a little unusual for me, doing it virtually. So my internet is acting up today. It's a little skippy. So again, I do apologize. But first and foremost, my name is Amber Acosta. This is not my first time joining Toastmasters. I was a member last year and I decided to re-enroll, and I'm on Pathway Speech 1. So basically about myself, I've been with UMA for, can you see me? Let me sit down. I apologize, guys. I'm used to walking. So about myself, I've been with UMA for close to 6 years. Awesome. So far, it's been an awesome journey of personal growth. I can tell you that I'm not the same person that I was when I initially began at UMA. UMA has taught me a lot of things about myself that I really wasn't aware of, such as personal development, bettering my communication skills, bettering my interpersonal skills, being less reactive and being more proactive. In essence, it really led me to who I am today. In regards to how I want to interact with individuals, even in my personal life. So, that explains the first leg of, my professional development and working with Ultimate Medical Academy. But there's more to who I am as an individual than just my professional life. And that's what people really only know about me at UMA is how I perform, and what capacity I'm able to perform. But I have an interesting story. What a lot of people don't know about me, when I was 31 years old, I found my biological father after searching for him for 30 years. And it was an amazing and emotional moment. I'll never forget the click. At all places, I found my father and my biological family on Facebook. And for today, I brought a picture of my dad, if you guys can see it. So my dad and I look alike. Unfortunately, he's no longer alive. But through the process, I found out that I have 2 amazing brothers that live in South Florida. So over the last 7 years, I've been blessed where I've been able to connect with my brothers and see them grow. And as my oldest brother, his name is Jonathan, had a child 2 years ago. So now I have my first biological nephew, and it's really interesting to see my biological nephew grow up, because I feel like finally I have a starting point with my family. And I'm seeing similarities. When I was a child, I would do certain things that my nephew Axel is doing. He's just as ornery as I am when I was young, so I feel incredibly blessed in that regard to be able to witness and experience the joy of not only having my family after searching for so long, but being able to be a part of their life and watch a family member grow. What many of you don't know about me either is I am a cancer survivor. I am 4 years out. I fought uterine cancer, which required a full hysterectomy. But I don't look at myself as a survivor. I honestly, I don't like that title. I don't like to restrict myself. I don't want to ever be in a box. I overcame an obstacle, and I'm still overcoming that obstacle. To me, as being a survivor is something that's instant. Like a car accident, for example. But when you have cancer, and when it's something that um, you have to be attentive to make sure that you're measuring your own health and well-being. In regards to being a survivor, I don't like to limit my possibility. Also, what many of you don't know, my mother was adopted. On Sunday, my mother dropped a bombshell on me. She has a twin sister that she's never met. So can you imagine that? A twin sister that you've never met. She was adopted, and um, there's another version of my mother out there somewhere. So I'm now on a new mission to find my mother's twin, and hopefully reconnect my mother with her family, since I was so blessed to find my father after searching for him. Um, so I mean, there's a lot of mysteries in this world, and life is just beautiful. So besides being an employee, my point of the speech is every person that walks the halls, whether it's virtually or when we get back in the office, every single person you come in contact with has a story. Take a moment to get to know them, because they might enlighten you, or you may have something in common with that person that can help them. And I want to thank you guys. It was so nice getting to know you today. Hopefully you were able to get to know me a little bit better. And feel free to ask me any questions. Thank you.
And thank you, Amber, for your speech today. It's always a pleasure to get to hear you speak. A gentle reminder before our next speaker, we have individuals editing the document that is hosted in our chat room at the moment. Everybody can see those edits, so I would encourage you to click the little hamburger menu on that file and hit download. That way you can make your edits privately, and most importantly, not have others potentially delete or erase your feedback. Now, without further ado, I'd like to welcome up Diane, who is our last speaker before we go into table topics and evaluations. Diane, the floor is yours. Diane.
I was muted, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm shaking your hand and everything. Hello and welcome, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My speech is 4.1 and it is on project management. I'm here to discuss with you my plans for creating success in UMA Toastmaster clubs. Currently, I am part of Ultimate Academy of Speakers. I'm also the area director and a club coach of the Ultimate Educators. We are all here today at this meeting to welcome you into our club, see how a successful club is run, and hopefully spur enough motivation and excitement in you all to complete an application, put next to your name what department you're in. We are hoping to be able to get a launch charter club for career services, as well as launching a club for student finance. In order to start a Toastmasters club, it will require 20 or more applications. No pressure, but I really hope that what I have to say is motivating to you and get you on that road to professional growth. The plans for my project was to get you all invited to this meeting. I have enlisted Tamara Jordan. She is part of my crew. She assisted me with editing of my marketing plans and making sure that my verbiage was clear and concise and enticing to have you all show up to this meeting. She also has taken it upon herself to make sure that the applications were uploaded in Teams so that today our Sergeant at Arms, Jonathan Ortiz, can get them loaded into the chat for you to be able to have applications. There is a specific application for the Ultimate Educators. It's already been the top part filled out because you are an existing club. So you don't have to put what department you're on. You can fill that specific application out yourselves. The other person that has been crucial to my team for this project is Mo, Anudi Morales. He is part of my team. He has been the person getting you out your calendar invites. He also made a document for your directors to show how many of you have RSVP'd. We will, at the end of this meeting, be collecting those applications. I would like for you all to not only put what department you're on next to your name, once you've completed your application, email it over to Anudi Morales, Tamara James, or myself so that we can gather those, get a nice list together, and get them to your respective directors. Before I close off this speech, I want to give a huge shout out to Catalina DePiro for getting the ball rolling. I know that as my role as club president, I had mentioned my goals to get other clubs started at UMA. And I did go to Heather Fleetwood. Unfortunately, at the time, it was too many things on the table. And that was back in 2019. Here we are, 2020, and there are over 35 of you here. I'm beyond excited. Toastmasters is a passion of mine, and I believe that no matter what you do in life, you should grow both professionally and personally. You do have the most growth when you feel the most uncomfortable. And speaking in front of your peers can cause that discomfort within you, but I want you to know you should embrace it. That is a positive thing for you, and it's going to help you to not only develop your leadership skills, your public speaking skills, it's also going to assist you with reaching a form of Xanadu within your own life. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Diane, for an amazing speech, as always. I would like to piggyback off Diane for a moment, because for many of you, this is the first meeting you've ever seen happen. And like many newbies, you may be thinking right now, whoa, they're kind of good. I don't know if this is the club for me. I don't think I could speak like that. And I just want to share a quick little tidbit about my story, because I was in that same seat 2.5 years ago when I joined Toastmasters. My first speech was all right, but my second speech was a total train wreck. I was shaking like a leaf. I was terrified. It was palpable. Diane's looking away because she's smiling because she was there and she knows how bad it was. And yet, Toastmasters opened up its arms, allowed me to come and make those mistakes, and ultimately gave me the tools that I needed to know not only that this was a safe environment for me to speak, but that everyone else had had that moment where they fell flat on their back and people reached out their hand to bring them into the club and help them be stronger. So if you are having those thoughts right now, I want to encourage you to not let them stop you from pursuing your goal. If you want to be a stronger leader, or if you want to be a stronger speaker, this is definitely the club for you. Now, without further ado, I would like to welcome up Sir James for table topics. And if you don't mind, Sir James, could you explain for those that are new exactly how this works?
Sure. What's happening, everybody? It's Sir James, former Sergeant at Arms at Toastmasters in 2019. So this part of the segment is called Table Topics. And during this section, we pretty much present you with the question, and you have, I believe, 1 to 2 minutes to give an answer, and it's very impromptu. So you don't know what the question is going to be. It's just going to surprise you, and we are looking for your best response. That's it. So I have a list of questions numbered from 1 to 365. So typically with these, I like to pick on guests and newbies. So with a lot of people here, I'm just gonna see who's in the chat board, and I'm just gonna call on names that of those that have been participating in the chat board. Sound like a plan? You can give me a thumbs up or whatever, things like that. So the first person, I'm just scrolling. I want to ask Mr. Tony Gray to turn his camera on and his mic, and I am going to present you with a question for table topics.
I do not have a camera, but I'm very excited. Let's go.
Let's go. So first step, I want you to pick a number between 1 and 365.
7.
7. All right. Question number 7. Do you ask enough questions, or do you settle for what you know? Do you ask enough questions, or do you settle for what you know?
Sometimes I ask enough questions, sometimes I settle for what I know. If I'm talking to somebody and I'm asking a lot of questions and it seems like what I know is more applicable to what I'm trying to do than what they're telling me, I'll go ahead with what I know.
Awesome.
If I feel like I'm getting a lot of valuable information from them and I'm learning from them, I will continue to ask questions.
Fantastic. Great response. Great response. So it looks like we're going to have room for about 3 more speakers. Great job, Tony, with your answer.
Thank you very much.
Who should I call on next? Let's see. Let's see. How about Andrew Kim? Turn your camera on. Turn your mic on.
Hello. Speaking.
How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, Mr. Kim, except for number 7, pick a number between 1 through 365.
Let's go number 1.
Number 1. Question is, when was the last time you tried something new? When was the last time you tried something new?
That will be today. Today is my first time being in this Toastmasters meeting. So I'm looking forward to, everything that this has to offer.
Awesome. Awesome. Great answer. Great job. Great job. Thank you for answering. So my next victim, who should I call on? I'm going to call on a buddy of mine, Mr. Matthew Davis. If you would, turn on your camera and microphone if you're here.
I'm here. Can you hear me okay? Can you guys see me?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay, let's go with number 365, my friend. Good to see you.
365. Here we go. The last question is, how would you describe your future in 3 words? How would you describe your future in 3 words?
Of course, the first word has got to be exceptional. For those who know me, that's my word when you ask how I'm doing, exceptional. The second word is dynamic. I like to always make sure, some folks are having some trouble hearing me. Testing, testing, testing. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you.
We can
Yes,
hear
sir.
Okay.
Sound good.
Oh, thank you. Exceptional. And then the second word will be dynamic. I like to make sure that I am well-versed in a number of different areas, kind of a master of none, jack of all trades. And the third thing for sure for me would have to be wonderful father. I know it's 2 words, but it means something very dear to me because I have 3 lovely daughters, ages 9, 6, and 2. And they look to me for guidance, for support, for direction, for wisdom, for comfort, for leadership, and being able to walk in my father's footsteps, who was married to my mother for 40 plus years. They're still married, going strong. But just seeing how his impact has had a great impact on my life and how I go about doing things, how I go about interacting with other people, how I go about learning, how I go about maximizing my opportunities. I shared in the chat earlier that every opportunity is an opportunity for another opportunity. And the folks who are here today, recognizing that this is an opportunity to set you up for something different, something better, something greater, and you never know when that opportunity will come. So being ready for it is paramount. So being exceptional, being dynamic, being a wonderful father are three things I see in my future. What's your future look like?
Awesome. Awesome responses. Great job. Great job. And we're actually going to have room for two more speakers. Two more speakers. So the next person I'm going to pick on is, I hope I don't mess up your name. Is it Lottie Velez?
It's Lloydie. Hi.
Lloydie. Hey, how's it
Lordy, lordy,
going?
lordy. All right.
Hi,
Lloydie.
how are you?
Fantastic. Fantastic. So pick a number except for 1, 7, and 365.
23.
23. Jordan. One of my favorite numbers. All right, number 23 says, are you holding on to something that you need to let go of? Are you
Oh,
are you holding on to something that you need to let go of?
hmm. I would say yes. I am very keen in holding on to certain things that I probably shouldn't, and letting go is probably one of the best things that you can do in order to move forward with your life.
Awesome. Great job. Great answer. Great responses. Great responses. All right. So I have one more, I have room for one more victim. And I'm gonna do, is it Jacinia Denson?
Yes, yes, it is.
Miss Denson, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. All right, please pick a number for me between 1 and 365.
I will do, let's do 27.
27. Here it is. Would you break the law to save a loved one? Would you break the law to save a loved one?
If we're going to be completely honest, no compliance, yes. Yes, I would break the law to save someone I would love because I would do anything and everything to have that person be happy before myself.
Great response. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I want to first and foremost thank all the volunteers, well, all the voluntold people I called on for answering today. And I am going to pass it back to our Toastmaster, Joseph.
Thank you, Sir James. And if y'all want to unmute yourselves really quick, I think everybody deserves a quick round of applause because it is not easy to stand up in a whole bunch of people. Yes, that's right.
Great job.
Somebody give me some claps.
This is what Toastmasters is all about. Y'all put your necks out on the line, granted unwillingly. Sir James picked on all of y'all, but y'all went out there, you put it all on the line, and I'd like you to think that you've been received just as warmly as we want you to feel. This club is all about helping you to feel more confident when you're in an unfamiliar situation, when you do have to speak your mind about some potentially deep topics on the spot. You just never know what's going to happen. So, as I said, congratulations to everybody who spoke or who wanted to speak. I saw lots of eager people in the chat room, but we just only had room for 5 because now those who did speak, a prepared speech, I should say, are about to have their evaluations. And evaluating Dorothy is going to be Shirlene. Come ahead and take the mic.
Hey, thank you so much, Joseph. My name is Shirlene. Welcome to Toastmasters. You new members. Oh, I see a lot of my old teammates. Hey, financial aid. Hey, 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 y'all. So I've been at Toastmasters for a little bit over 6 months. Still working on myself a little bit, but definitely love it. So I was evaluating Dorothy. I love Dorothy a lot. So communication style. Fish dog. First of all, the title, fish dog. I loved it. This all says Dorothy all over it, just like your hair color. I love it. I love the style of communication and why. Your approach is always like your style of communication, your approach, you always immediately take action. You always share feedback. Um, and you always share the reason behind your decision. So I love that about you. I love that. Now, what I really think you should work on is giving me or giving us a little bit more of yourself. Again, the same way you change up your hair color, I want you to change it up in your speeches. I want you to challenge yourself a little bit more by getting a little bit more creative, getting a little bit more on your confident side, showing us a little bit more like of you. Again, just like you change up your hair color, I want to see that energy. I want to see that love, that hug that you give me when we used to be at UMA every morning. I want to see more of that. But I love the speech overall. Clarity, 5. Your vocal variety, 5. Eye contact, we kind of missed it a little bit because I was watching the dog a little bit, but I did give you a 3. Your gesture itself, I gave you a 3. Your comfort level, you always have that comfort about yourself. You're so confident, so I gave you a 5. Um, the topic itself, I gave you a 4 itself, and your interest, I gave you a 4. So again, I'm always a fan of your speeches. I love the speech itself overall, but again, I want a little bit more of Dorothy, the Dorothy that I know. Trust me, everybody else, I really love you. So just put a little bit more of Dorothy into it, and I promise you, you're gonna wow everybody. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Charlene, for being able to give that evaluation. To those that are new, I'm sure you're probably wondering, well, how'd she know what to evaluate? And what do these 3s, 4s, and 5s mean? I want to break that down for y'all really quick. So in Toastmasters, there's this thing called Pathways, and it has all of the education you need to make it through the whole program, help make sure you feel confident about what you're speaking out, and even has some optional projects for you to take on if you really want to challenge yourself. All of these projects require you, of course, to do some speaking. That's what the club is about, after all. And they have pre-built evaluation forms that run 1 to 5 on a few different metrics, all of which are important to being a fantastic speaker. So when you heard lots of 4s and 5s, that means that Dorothy absolutely killed it, and Charlene felt that, frankly, she just did an excellent job. Now, even if a speaker absolutely kills it, your job as the evaluator is to give them something to improve on. So even if you thought they were flawless, the challenge is you need to help them figure out what the next level of flawless looks like. Now, without further ado, I want to welcome up TJ to evaluate Amber on her icebreaker.
Hey everybody, how are you? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm definitely excited about this project management speech that Diane did because it allowed for all of us to be able to come in and collaborate. Definitely coming from a career services aspect, it's good to kind of see a lot of the familiar faces that I remember when I first started here with UMA in career services. But to get back to Toastmasters, because of the sake of time, my role was to evaluate Miss Amber Acosta on her Pathways speech. And she was doing an introduction icebreaker speech. And that basically is just a speech about yourself. You know, why did you join Toastmasters? Or just a general about you type of speech. So I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that. Amber, like always, I know what you have in you. You've been with Toastmasters for a very long time. You've been able to grow as you, like you mentioned in your speech, growing as an individual, but you've also grown in this Toastmasters club. So I think that you did a really good job with your icebreaker speech and had a good way of telling the story about your family tree and how that's been going on and seems like continuously going on now that you found out your mom was adopted. Now, some areas of opportunities that I really wish that I know that you have in you is the fact that I know the Amber that is able to go really, really high in her tone and then really just talk soft when she wants to talk about something serious. I didn't really see that in this speech, and I wish I could have seen that, especially when you were talking about finding your dad for the first time and being able to meet him, finding out about your siblings. That would have been something that I would have been like overly excited about because I'd never seen them before, right? So I wish I would have been able to see that inflection in tone, and I was not able to see that this time, and I know that you have that in you. Also, another thing that I would love for you to also and challenge yourself with is just the fact of using I use it all the time. So being a mock interview specialist, I catch it a lot more now since being in Toastmasters, and I felt like your speech was choppy at times because you were using it to kind of break up where you were going on with your story. But again, I think that you did a really good job. I know that you have the ability to be able to do better. And I look forward to just hearing more speeches to come. But great job overall with your icebreaker speech. Thank you.
And thank you, TJ, for your evaluation of Amber's icebreaker. To wrap up the evaluation segment, we're going to welcome Sir James back up to the mic to evaluate Diane on her 4.1 speech.
All right, all right. So I had the awesome pleasure of evaluating Diane, and it's so difficult to evaluate Diane, and a lot of the senior members can relate to this because Diane is just excellent. If you want to know the definition of excellence in Toastmasters, you see that in Diane. Her speeches are always flawless. So the goal of her speech was to give a short overview of developing a plan, building a team, and fulfilling that plan. And she had to do this in 2 to 3 minutes. So first of all, that was just phenomenal for her to get that speech completed in 2 to 3 minutes. Not only to get it completed, but to have it well organized and well delivered. Let's start it from top to bottom. She gave you the title, Creating Success in the Toastmasters Club. She gave what the positions were, and she laid down the foundation of what Toastmasters is all about, especially for our newbies and our guests, to fill you in, to, you know, give you the information of what to expect from the club. So she described the vision, she described the mission, and her plan was to invite people from other departments to this meeting. Not only that, she gave credit to those team members who assisted her. She gave credit to Mo and TJ for helping her out with this plan to make this meeting possible for others to join. And she just gave a brief description of their role. Again, where did she excel at? The fact that she did all of this in 2 to 3 minutes was phenomenal. Not only that, she used the word of the day, which is on the agenda for the Toastmasters meeting. She used the Nundo. Phenomenal. And then to top it all, she had a great conclusion, giving a shout out to Kat, our director, and presented the facts that she started this plan in 2019. And it goes to show when you sow that seed and you let it grow, that it eventually blooms. Look at where we're at for 2020. Not only was she former president, she's now an area director. Phenomenal speech. Great job putting it all together. So again, you excelled at just having all of these bullet points. You were able to display that in 2 to 3 minutes. What do you want to work on? It's really hard to decipher what you need to work on. Maybe one suggestion would be your actual progress throughout the club, how you became area director from your former position. Kind of like what Joseph did when he described his first couple of speeches. My challenge for you, though, my challenge for you is to go above area director. How far can you go with this club? That's going to be my challenge for you. As far as the statistics, clarity, 5. Vocal variety, 5. Eye contact, even though you're looking through your camera, 5. Audience awareness, 5. Comfort level, 5. Interest and topic, 5. Great speech, Diane. I think that was worth the touchdown.
And great evaluation, Sir James. Now we're going to start with what is basically the wrap-up portion of our meeting, where everybody gets evaluated on a few key topics, such as were they able to keep in time? Time is very important because Toastmasters is ultimately a competitive club, and you in the future may be selected in your organization to compete with other clubs in the Tampa area, in the Florida area, in the US area, and sometimes even outside of the country on the international stage to see who can be the best speaker. So we practice every meeting with making sure we're in the competition level guidelines for the length of our speeches. In addition, we count ums and uhs so you can get a feeling of how you're progressing even on the little things like how many filler words you have. And we, of course, have an evaluator that evaluates the whole meeting and lets us know if this meeting was successful and what we could do as the leadership team to continue growing our club. So without further ado, I want to welcome up our timer to go ahead and break down how well people did.
Hello, everybody. I'm back. The first speaker that was a timed speech was Dorothy Lynn. I have you timed at 4 minutes, 24 seconds. The criteria for your speech was between 4 minutes and 6 minutes. Of course, anytime you receive a red, you have an additional 30 seconds to wrap it up. Great job staying right in the sweet spot. Then we have Amber Acosta. Her time came in at 5 minutes, 22 seconds. Same criteria for her speech. Phenomenal job. I did not time myself. So, TJ, what's my time looking like?
Sorry, I was on mute. I just had to put in the chat. It's 3 minutes and 9 seconds. Sorry.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I was
You're
almost
welcome.
over my sweet spot. Thank goodness. All right, so let's move on. Our evaluator, Charlene, came in at 2 minutes, 4 seconds. Evaluation speeches always are in that 2 to 3 minute area. So if you hit that 3 minute, 30-second, you're still okay. You have that sweet spot to close it up. TJ, as evaluator number 2, came in at 2 minutes, 34 seconds. Sir James came in at 3 minutes on the nose. Way to do it. Let me move into our table topic speakers. So the table topic criteria is 1 minute, red card at 2 minutes. You have 30 seconds to tie it in. We have our first speaker was Tony Gray. You came in at 28 seconds. Nerves might have got away with you. Maybe in your future speeches, you can extend that question or repeat the question. You can find creative ways to hit that minute marker, but great job on your first one. Applause.
Thank
Andrew Kim, you came in at 17 seconds. Again, it is nerve wracking your very first time speaking in front of your peers, much less over 35 of them. Great job. I applaud you. And then we come to Mr. Matthew Davis. What? Perfectly poised in the sweet spot. 1 minute, 34 seconds, killing the game. Great job. Lloydie Velez, you came in at 15 seconds. So if you were nervous, remember to take a deep breath and you've got this. Jacinia Denson came in at 18 seconds. Great job for all of you getting up here in front of everyone your very first time. Applause. Yes.
All right, and with that, I would like to welcome our and ah counter. And unlike the title, they actually count much more than that.
Hello, everyone. This is Dorothy Lampour again. I am back. I am also the secretary in that leadership role of Toastmasters here. So I do hope that everyone is enjoying your time here. I know that getting a quick little table topics speech, not really knowing what the expectations are, you guys did a phenomenal job. So what I want to discuss is how did we land? I'm going to roll through it quickly just to make sure, focusing more on anytime someone said so, and just had a little hiccup there. So for example, we're going to start with Mr. Jonathan, our sergeant at arms, always just immaculate. I noticed none, so I counted 0 for him. Joseph, as much as you have been speaking today, I believe I caught about 1 time that you said so, transitioning into a new sentence. So fantastic job. Amber Acosta, no, you are coming back and you're speaking about emotional things. You did have, I just stopped. If you hit over 10, I just kind of let it sit there. And I think that we all have heard you go through speeches with less. So it's just getting back in the grooves. It's work from home. Great job. Diane, you've done a lot of speaking today as well. I got 1 so and 1 Mr. Sir James, with all of the communication you've done today, I've got 1 1 so, even with your table topics and your evaluation. Matthew, Andrew, Liddell, if I said that correctly, I hope I did, and Jacinia, in the time that you did spend, I really don't think I heard any one of you say or anything. So fantastic job there. We're going to go ahead and go with Miss Charlene. I didn't hear any ahs and ums. TJ, none for you as well. That pretty much wraps it up. I didn't count myself, of course. I just said a lot of them in this evaluation, but great job, everybody.
All right, and then next up, we're going to have Latina take the mic as our general evaluator, and her job is to evaluate pretty much the whole meeting and let us know how we did.
Hi, everybody. Awesome meeting thus far. I'm having a little technical challenges with my camera. Otherwise, I would join the amazing backgrounds going on. But I am so excited to have had an amazing turnout today. Great participants, multiple levels of phenomenal speakers. I just think today went great. So let me talk a little bit about the general evaluation. From the start of our meeting, we started out on time, 3 o'clock on the dot. Yes, Sergeant at Arms got us going. Then from there, we passed the mic over to Joseph, and in every aspect from the beginning to end, transitions were smooth, details about how to get into certain documents. We were able to kind of cross functionally connect our new people so that you would know how to kind of navigate. And that is really about that leadership and making sure that we are all on the same page. With that, we transition right into our speakers. Dorothy had a passionate speech that allowed us to meet her friendly paw friend, and allowed us to really see her communication style. We transitioned from that and allowed Amber to introduce us to who she truly is and who she's developing and growing into. And from there, we pass the mic to our third speaker, Miss Diane, who, as you can see, as our area director, past president, leadership is ultimately the goal and how we build it. She was able to break down what we want to see our future Toastmaster look like for Ultimate Medical Academy. This is a new branch, it's a new development, and we can make a large imprint in an international platform. So kudos for that delivery and that opportunity. We transition right into what we call table topics. And I tell you what, one thing about Sir James, he's always going out for the team, looking for that touchdown. And we had 6 or 5 great speakers today who allowed us to really get a little bit of their tones, a little bit of their conversation, and to get their feet wet, to get comfortable with what is it to be in Toastmasters, to give feedback. And we had some excellent feedback from all of them. And then we transitioned from there into evaluations, taking back some great feedback from all of our speakers, allowing us to see some of their strengths, weaknesses, takeaways, and areas of opportunities. So that also gives that skill of being able to grow and show how your leadership can be utilized across the board as we continue to work with our students, to work with internal leadership as we become more elite leaders. We closed it out with being able to break down ums, ahs, sums, clicks, which we didn't have much of that, as well as being able to see how are we managing our time as we're delivering our message. The last thing you want to do is sit in front of a leader who goes on tangents every time you have a meeting. What's the goal here? What's our objective? And that is what we're learning as we continue to build our skills in Toastmaster. As the general evaluator today, I believe our evaluation for today's meeting was phenomenal, but like some of our other speakers use, exceptional for today. Thank you, guys.
And with that, our meeting is just about done, but there is still more to do for those of you that are visiting from other departments. Jonathan, if you don't mind posting your email address in the chat, he's going to be the one you're going to be emailing your forms to for best speaker and for who you felt were the best speakers overall on the bottom with the votes.